So we're talking about Child's Play, the 1988 film.
I thought I knew
And it is
you.
a movie that I liked a lot when I was like 14.
Jesus Christ.
It was probably the first horror series or like proper R-rated horror series that I allowed myself to watch.
Alone?
Yeah. And so after that it would have been Friday the 13th and Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street and all that shit. But this was the first. And I really hadn't seen it in that long, and I didn't know what I would think. Like horror fans, like Chucky's a very popular character, but I don't actually know what esteem people hold the movies in. So
I hope it's low. I'm sorry, I'm just giving away everything.
So Lacey had not seen it, so I said, let's watch it for the podcast. It'll give us some good grist for talking.
You know what I thought this movie was going to be, and what I actually think I was just superimposing Chucky's face on top of are the Leprechaun movies.
Okay.
Which made more sense to me. They were fun. This movie is so fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I saw a Leprechaun movie when I was a kid.
I might even be I thought this series were the like fun, scary, and like ridiculous. I mean, it's a doll come to life. I thought it was supposed to be like the Gremlins, this first movie,
grown-up
Gremlins.
I think that's where the series goes.
Okay.
But this first movie treats it very seriously. I mean, this is sort of just a Halloween or Friday the 13th type, closer to Halloween because it's, inside apartments and stuff. Just sort of straightforward slasher movie.
Wait, but slasher movies are even more fun than this. This is psychologically great. Just it's both stupid and emotionally disturbing the entire way through.
But that's why it's good.
No.
No, that's why it's good. It is stupid.
No, I get what's supposed to be stupid, but it also strikes a nerve that makes that hurts my feelings. That makes me sad. I shouldn't be both feeling.
So sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go.
No, you go.
Okay, it's definitely got a Halloween thing wherein if I'm supposed to care that all these people are going to die, then you need to make me feel like any of these people are worth giving a shit about. Same thing with Aliens 1. This movie finds a way. Okay. You're stupid. You're a stupid man. All right, this movie finds a way of making me care about all of them and then kills if the people are supposed to be disposable, if I'm not supposed to get too wrapped up in what eventually happens to all of them, then they made the boy too sweet and innocent. They made the best friend too nice and giving.
So they made the mom. It affects you. That's good. It's doing its job. They're not supposed to be disposable. You're supposed to be affected by them dying, and you're supposed to be worried about them.
It went too far. There's a balance. It didn't do it right.
What do you mean by it went too far?
Okay, for instance, in the first Terminator movie, that felt more like a slasher movie to me. And you totally get that this is the best friend of Sarah Connor. Like, you get why she's a nice roommate. You get that they have a good relationship. But they don't let her do 8 selfless favors for you and be nothing but nice and supportive and helpful and have your back around every corner in so many different ways, and then immediately drop her out of a fucking window. I
just don't understand the point you're making. Like, you can't, if somebody's going to die, they can't have a developed character?
They can't have developed so much tonally one way. It doesn't... I don't know. I just feel like this movie's not smart enough to have done that on purpose. They it has to be a little bit okay for you to let go of the best friend, because you still understand that the mom would be deeply disturbed by it and be on a mission to avenge and figure out what happened. But I don't feel like the audience needs to be just super endeared to them. Not this early on. Not if they're going to immediately die. Like, why even? Either they're disposable or they're not.
They're not. They're not. I mean,
they are. They get rid of her so quickly. They do nothing with her.
And you are supposed to feel the weight of her dying.
Okay, but I don't feel like. all I feel is the trauma done to the little boy. They make this the most precious little kid ever. The mom is a sweetheart. Like this seems like the dad clearly died at a young age of cancer, and mom now works at a fucking department store, and she can't afford to buy her kid the toy he really wants for his birthday, and he's precious, and he makes his own fucking breakfast, and he makes her breakfast. He has access to the toaster. He's just such a sweetheart. And then this family's life is destroyed. I don't know. I don't know.
All of those things are in the movie's favor. I mean, how many horror movies do you watch where you don't give a shit about any of these?
You're supposed to give a shit, but it's supposed to fit within what you think should happen to these people. Like in Scream, they're shitty teenagers, but you like them. You buy their friendship, but when bad stuff starts happening to them, there's enough like resilience in them. There's enough already damaged parts to them where it's like, yeah, bad shit probably is going to happen to you, and you're probably going to be okay. I have evidence to say that it will. And there's something that carries you through the tragedy that happens to this person over and over and over again. This little boy is 6, did nothing wrong, is not a little shit in any kind of way. And I don't know. Okay, well, you know what he's like.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie did it much better. The Shining, because he's very reminiscent of Danny to me. Only this is Danny if Danny were interesting, more developed, super like a crucial part of the family.
There's a lot of Shining references in this episode.
There are, but the kid is just, and Danny's very sweet. Like you care about Danny, but there's something about him that makes you know he can put up with this. He's tough. He's going to be okay through this. He'll never be the same, but they don't do any of that work to make you find this kid to be deserving of this kind of horror happening to him. And
why does he have to deserve it?
I'm just saying that the movies that get it right.
But you're setting up a criteria for what makes it right, and what makes it right is if just.
I don't mean just. No, I don't mean just. I mean palatable. There are better set up.
People have to be capable of dealing with the problems set in front of them. It can't just be that you're going to suffer trauma, and once the movie ends, you'll never be okay.
Right. And they even go as far as putting the boy in a super fucked up looking mental facility where he's behind bars. They do way too much to this family. It's not I don't know how to explain it. I need to find examples where just as many bad things happen, but they're set up in such a way where it's more believable to happen to this family, and they seem more sturdy and along for the ride, where this one shit just keeps happening to them. And I don't feel like they don't seem durable enough to
But it's just your criticism is confusing because it seems like what you're saying is at the heart of it, characters have to be strong enough to endure what happens to them in the movies.
Or flawed enough that they brought it on themselves.
God. I mean, why can't they be weak? Why can't they be weak and not able to deal with what?
Because it's constantly punching down, and that's not interesting to me. I needed punching across or punching up.
Down?
Yes, they're kicking.
Fictional.
So? It's just, there's only so much of me watching you kick someone who's weaker than you that I'm going to be interested in, and not just like really be fucked up and not interesting. And,
okay, but they do overcome. They defeat Chucky in the end.
With the help of like the knight in shining fucking armor police guy that started the whole issue to begin with.
Okay, but they do need help. They're not.
It's nice that a police officer believed them, sure.
They're not, although, again, he believed them when he got attacked by the doll. It's not like he was like.
Yeah, he's not a fucking saint.
Your story seems reasonable. This movie, Child's Play, was long in development.
Oh, right.
Was started. The original idea came from a screenwriter named Don Mancini, and he wanted to satirize basically commercialism targeted at children, which was really booming in the 80s with the explosion of toys and cartoons.
Is this when toys became cheaper because they discovered China and plastic? Is that what the boom is?
Sure. I don't know.
Like every show now has a figurine and an action figure in a set.
Maybe there was something like that. I don't know why it exploded then. or if there was a single cause that you can point to like that. But you have Ninja Turtles, you have the Care Bears, the Cabbage Patch Kids, TV shows being produced merely to sell you the more expensive toy.
Right.
And Saturday morning blocks of programming aimed at kids where they could be a real cash cow because of the commercials that they could aim directly at kids. And as a sort of new idea, this was disturbing to some people. Now it's, such a I'm nostalgic for a time when
I was going to say
the worst things kids were watching were just trying to sell them stuff.
Well, that is what they're watching still, but they're just trying to sell the influencers or the product being sold.
Well, yeah, but
no, I know what you mean. But
used to have the intermediary of a corporation, and now it's just some evil or just some either one, an algorithm, or two, some weirdo in Sweden just making silly voices while playing a game, and teaching them to be Nazis.
Not at all specific reference.
No.
The toy store scene in the very beginning of this, it just seems so quaint. Where that's interesting to think of. The person who made this movie was thinking, "Look at this commercialism," and I'm thinking, "What a lovely mom and pop shop that has way too many dolls on display." By the way,
I know.
I hate that trope when in any kind of. Well, especially in animation, but when the displays make no fucking sense, there's way too many of one product. Toy Story does this. Anyway.
Yeah. It's movie magic, It
takes me out of it.
Documentary about toy stores. I was thinking that when people say that Netflix its model isn't sustainable because all it's doing is issuing new debt to produce new shows and movies so that it'll have more and more programming. But kids' Saturday morning blocks of TV shows were underwritten by companies who bought commercials, and Netflix doesn't have commercials, so its the way it turns a profit eventually is what? Either it raises its subscription rates dramatically, or it just starts having commercials. But the kid commercials don't exist anymore because kids don't watch commercials.
I'm sorry, you sounded like you were on the opposite side of that argument, and then you ended up on the one that you said you were against.
It's not an argument. I'm saying I was just thinking about how interesting it is.
Oh, you're stating the argument. Okay.
Yeah, that basically kids. Where do kids see commercials targeting them to buy a toy? I guess
they see it in the ads on the YouTube videos.
But there's not as many ads.
No, not at all.
You can watch a really long YouTube video and then see two commercials and then watch another one. Versus,
if you recall. And I think every kid goes through this because it is it's what Supermarket Sweep was for me. They go through a phase of loving unboxing videos. So that in itself, Macy would have never been into Shopkins or LOL dolls there's even the very act of unboxing has spawned other surprise toys that are just built around slowly unboxing them. So in that way, the YouTube videos are what sells the product.
Yeah, and
so many toy review.
The manufacturers do form relationships with these influencers and send them stuff.
Entire families who every video is just featured them playing some giant game inside of their big old house with these elaborate toys, and it makes Macy want all of them. She's grown out of that, a lot of that. So, but it catches them when they're the most willing to buy crap.
Think of how dystopic this sounds. If you told this guy who was writing this movie about how disturbing it was that there were commercials aimed at kids, no. One day, people including kids, are going to volunteer to, for free, hawk products made by corporations at people.
Just so that they will get those exact products for free and a little bit more money on the side.
Yeah.
They will be the shill.
No, the companies aren't going to pay these people. They're not going to be employees of these companies. They're just going to happily volunteer to promote
They do
products.
pay them, though. They get a cut.
Yes, and they get paid from by their ad views and stuff by YouTube. But say, no, commercials...
You will become the commercial, sir.
People themselves will just be commercials one day.
You're the commercial. It's that South Park episode where the person is the ad, right? Am I remembering that wrong?
There was it was
live ads. Yeah. Picks up a people just walked into a room and they were an ad, or I can't remember.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. I just thought so because you so are on to me about there's some kind of beautiful balance that just is impossible. Fuck you. One of your favorite movies does this just right. Close Encounters.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sweet little boy in that who has a tragic end and a mom who gets a tragic thing happen to her. But like, you're cool with it because their circumstances seem like, yeah, that happened.
I just can't. Fine. I don't understand your general idea that it's a bad thing a movie does if a character can't handle what they go through.
No, and I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I can't exactly put my finger on it, but tonally, this movie is not doing something very important right. And maybe it's the fact that I've never seen Seventh Heaven, but I have seen the WB. I think that's where it was on. And this woman, the mom in this movie, Child's Play, again, we're talking about Child's Play, looks exactly the same as she did whenever I'd see those commercials. And I mean, Seventh Heaven is about like a Christian family doing Christian things, right? I don't know. It just seems very out of step for her to be in this vile random slasher movie. Is she in this? There's a second and a third one of these?
There are lots of them. She is not in any others.
Okay.
Probably
she
because
seems really out of place.
It would, when you are a mainstay of a horror franchise, it kind of destroys the rest of your career.
Gives you the old Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee
that
Curtis
didn't
was able to
happen.
Get out of it, but yeah.
But I'm sure there was a time. Yeah.
Seventh Heaven.
She had to cut her hair.
Seventh Heaven is only known now as the show where the dad in real life was a child molester.
I didn't know that.
Oh,
I didn't remember that.
Well, what is this? What is Child's Play? We know what it's about. It's about crass commercialism and the impending.
See, not to me. I thought this movie was just capitalizing on Satanic Panic, because that would have been happening around the same time.
It sure would have.
And this complete misunderstanding of how widespread the occult and people worshiping and practicing things.
Here's the thing. The movie opens with a serial killer, although it doesn't seem like he's a serial killer
at all.
In like a, firing exchange with a cop.
Can I just say?
Yeah.
This is Chicago, and it opens while I was watching this shootout scene that's just very publicly happening with no cops around. On the streets of Chicago, they're just shooting back and forth each other like they're in the fucking Wild West. Two white guys. I'm like, okay, I guess I don't need to write a note because it's not totally crazy, because I guess this is how it would feel if I'd walked in on the middle of what's the one with Matt Damon? Whatever. Another Chicago movie where there's a shootout on the street. And I was like, all right, fine. I guess a horror movie can open with what seems like a cop thriller climax.
Okay, yes, I gotcha.
It just is. I've never seen this genre started in a way that seemed completely outside of the genre.
It is weird. It is like you're like watching a Law and Order episode.
Right. It was very straight.
Then turns into
well, and you don't know that there's a good guy and a bad guy. They just both seem like they're into something and got into a duel.
Mm-hmm.
And the long-haired guy runs into. I just did not see this shit coming. I did not see. Okay, he's Anton Levin's half brother, and he's now what?
Well,
does that mean?
I mean,
what?
Voodoo is a real religion to some people, whereas Satanism, LaVeyan Satanism, is not.
Oh, so you're saying, okay, I didn't make that distinction, that what they were doing was, you're right. Later it is explained that he was performing some sort of...
yeah, he's been trained in voodoo arts. Because I
thought it was satanic what he was doing.
Here's what's
totally
weird
forgot
about
that
this.
part.
Here's what the thing about this, what I thought by the end of the movie, because this guy played by Brad Dourif, he's Charles Lee Ray, the super serial killer who's also in a cops and robbers movie at the same time. Again, trained in the dark arts of voodoo, and is able to summon dark clouds and lightning to transport his soul from himself into a doll that he sees as he lays dying in the toy store. So this is a movie. This is a universe in which the voodoo religion is real. The gods of voodoo are real.
Mm-hmm.
They will help you if you ask them. And that's crazy. So, but the story that the movie wants to tell is about a stupid doll and this little kid.
In a world that's never experienced. So you're telling me that this is the first random guy to have actually used his voodoo thing to do a thing to an inanimate object to the point that the world will have never have seen it before? He's the first person to think to do this?
This is so huge of a thing to suggest is going on that the story you decided to tell seems like way beside the point.
Exactly.
Like
that is what I was. That's what I wrote down was. We need this doll to move for some reason. I know the devil, That's what I thought they were doing whenever they did it. I was like, this is so fucking lazy. It's almost as lazy as the Toy Soldiers movie we watched.
If it turns out that, if the soldiers from Small Soldiers were turned evil by Poseidon, but then Poseidon was like the Greek god.
Beside the point. Right.
It's like, no, this is about small soldiers. Yeah. Now, the original, in Mancini's original script, didn't have any of the voodoo stuff. That was all added in. He didn't like it.
Well, then what was the catalyst for?
I don't think it was explained. And
I like that better.
To be more of a mystery, where people didn't know, and
you could unwrap
more of the blame was on Andy the kid.
Oh.
And when it's finally revealed as the doll at the end, you're like, wow, how disturbing. Seems more like a Twilight Zone episode than something that gets to stay in a whole movie.
This kid is so cute.
He's very cute. He's a really good actor.
He really is, especially when he gets upset when he's
sent to the fucking mint.
No, not when he gets sent. When he sees Chucky outside of his window and the doctor doesn't believe him.
Yeah.
And he starts crying that he doesn't want to die. I mean, that's what I'm saying. He's too good for this role. It's too believable of him. Be a sweet kid. Have nothing glaringly wrong about you, but don't be such an effective actor that I'm thinking of my own son falsely accused for being mentally ill and killing my best friend. Like, it's too much. If I'm supposed to stay in this very silly place where a doll is a serial killer,
Director Tom Holland should have instructed the child to act less well.
Use a different fucking kid.
Agree. It's just the kid is too good. Yes.
The kid is too good. He has no place in this fucking movie.
No, I don't agree with you. That's a weird thing to say.
The adults are not nearly as good.
Too good. Kid's too good.
He's too believable. He's Wallace. I don't need Wallace from The Wire having his death scene in the middle of this cheeky, stupid, a doll comes to life from the fucking Voodoo King. It's there. You know what? As much as you tell me I am watching a movie that's got two different movies inside of one, this is what that is.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
And I also want to point out that this is the first Andy with toys that come to life in his room. And then Toy Story happened.
Makes you think.
Just saying.
No, I agree. It's sloppy. I mean, I think that the horror parts, the doll in the apartment trying to kill you, those parts are really effective.
Those are the good parts.
I would say
I don't like the doll outside.
It's a pretty good movie. Not great. This is not a classic. This is just barely passable. But the Chucky effects are like, he looks amazing. The animatronics are great. The puppetry is great. Brad Dourif's voice as Chucky is great. The actor who plays Andy is great. And there's some good little horror elements. That's all.
Very little.
Solid little horror movie with some weird stuff.
Built around
stuff is so weird.
I mean, there are so many. Just dismissal of women and children moments in this fucking movie, and the fact that two men have to come and be the saving. I don't. It just bugs me.
Yeah,
like the mom is supposed to see, like, she's so fucking strong mom and she really protects her kid, except for the minute some quack doctor shows out of nowhere and says, I'm gonna need to keep your son. Okay, and then she disappears.
I think that the movie does have something to say about the way the system just sort of on autopilot will do things like take kids away from their parents, and just put them in the machinery of putting them in institutions that are
not designed to get them ever out again.
To handle real problems.
Thank God a doll came to life.
You wouldn't be here if you weren't crazy. So of course we're not going to listen to you.
Plus you're a kid.
Right. And you, Lacey, have difficulty with stories in which people are misunderstood.
Yeah, when the plot it hinges on something that's true not being believed, when I think it'd be so much more interesting for everyone to accept it a lot quicker and then move on with what that would mean. It's more of a thought experiment, more interesting, where I could, I don't need to spend a whole lot of time in a place where people don't believe me. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to have someone denying your reality. Like, that's not fucking interesting. And then everything happens where they can't see it. And it just, the timing is just so, where as soon as the act is done, then they walk into the room. It's fucking annoying.
You want it to be more like The Witches, where the kid comes to his grandma and says, Grandma, I saw a witch. And the grandma says,
Yep, you did.
Yes, you did. Yeah, but in that case, the grandma was obsessed with witches.
No, it's not that. That's not the part where she accepts it. She accepts when a fucking mouse walks up to her and says, Hi, I'm your fucking grandson. She goes, Yes, you are. That I liked, because that's much harder to believe.
Yeah, but if a mouse came to you and said, I'm your daughter, Macy, if it was spoken, if one, a mouse was speaking, and two, was speaking in Macy's voice, you would be an idiot not to believe it.
Except for they try to do the exact same fucking thing with the chunky kid's parents, and that woman doesn't shut up long enough to hear her son's voice. That is the frustrating thing. That is what the movie could have done. That kid could have been fighting for half the movie to get his grandma to be quiet enough to hear that he's a mouse. And that's annoying.
That is annoying.
It's not smart. It's not interesting. Like, move on with now what we have to do in this weird reality we find ourselves in. That's more interesting. I also was really offended when the mom in this movie has to go find the peddler. So adorable. They won't call him a homeless person or a whatever. A peddler. She goes into the shanty town, or the place where all the peddlers are living, and she finds him and says, Where did you get the doll? And he says, How much will he says, pay me and I'll tell you. And she says, I only have this much money. He's like, That's not all you got. Is that all you got? I don't think that's all you got. And he lays her down in a fucking car, and he's about to thrust inside of her. And when the cop goes, No, you don't.
Yeah, the cop then shows up.
He takes the guy out of her, even. You can hear the of the dick coming out of her. And you don't. And he's like, All right, grabs him by the scruff of his neck. You'll tell her what she wants to hear or else. And then he gets the information out of the peddler. And all right, thanks, bye. No, you're a cop. You just witnessed an attempted rape, but you don't even get him to apologize to her. You don't even address the fact that he almost did that. That's completely besides the point. She shouldn't have been here anyway. She was getting what she deserved. I told her not to.
This guy continue. He's going to do it again to somebody else.
He's going to walk around raping the shit. He's a large man.
I agree. Irresponsible. Bad coppery.
Bad cop.
From Chris Sarandon. Chris Sarandon plays the cop. He is the former husband of Susan Sarandon. She divorced him, kept his last name, became the more famous Sarandon, which is great.
Witches are great.
Witches are great. That guy also went on to be the voice of Jack Skellington in Nightmare.
Wow, what? You know what? Aim high, man.
And although not the singing voice, just the speaking voice. Danny Elfman does the singing
which
voice.
Is the best parts. But.
So that's Child's Play. It was just Child's Play. Voodoo was in the air, you know. There was the Godsmack song, and so we had,
which you started singing
here in New Orleans. Our arena football league team was the New Orleans Voodoo. We just love it, don't we? What were we saying?
You after you watched the movie, you went into the kitchen and you started singing that song, and then you went into the other Godsmack song, which I would have sworn was the exact same song. Go ahead, Matt, sing that part.
I'm not the one who's
okay, that's the first song, but then you went into the second.
And I wonder day to day, I don't like you anyway. You better fucking go away.
I'm doing the best I ever did. No. So anyway, the part where they go,
Oh, I'm doing the best I ever did.
I'm doing the best that I can. And then I thought, you know what? That sounds like a tired husband who's trying to put together an IKEA piece of furniture. And the wife walks in for the third time. Are you finished? I'm doing the best I ever did. Now go.
And you nailed it. That is exactly what it's about.
You would totally turn to me sweaty with too many screwdrivers in your hand, like, get the better fucking go. Anyway.
We should make. I mean, we could make a Vine out of that. If Vine were a thing, or TikTok.
Oh my God!
Are you done building the furniture, and then the songs? I turn to you, the song starts playing. I'm doing the best that I ever did. I'm doing the best that I can.
Now go. Oh,
Now,
this is gonna sound so good when everyone listens to it. Okay.
God, whenever I'm subscribed to Spotify or any music service, like almost everything I listen to is just like new metal. It's like Papa Roach and Limp Bizkit. Like that's what it's like. Wow, all the music in the world available at my fingertips. It's just one of those days where you don't want to wake up. That's all I want to listen to, apparently. It's a revealed preference. That's what I actually want to listen to.
There's just one more comment about... Yeah, fuck it. Whatever. It doesn't even matter. Just this movie is tonally off. Its tone
is off.
It is. It doesn't know what it's trying to do. And one example of that, it's happening right now. We have the movie on. Is when the lady finds out there's no batteries in the guy, in the doll. And
it's creepy. It's awesome.
That part's great. She really trusts her idea of batteries included and batteries not. Those could have been backup batteries. She really shifts gears from my kid's fucking crazy.
She gets a little too upset by finding that batteries are...
Not batteries! Right, it's like, why don't we go check the doll before we assume that the doll's been working without batteries? Anyway, there's not been one curse word uttered in this entire movie. The mom's nothing but a sweet as pie, seventh heaven little doll, and the kid is adorable as all get out. And then the doll, Chucky, turns to the mom when he's revealing, yeah, bitch, I'm a puppet, whatever. And he says, you fucking bitch, you dirty slut. That's what all the curse words start to happen mid-movie.
Yeah.
And all right, fine. The guy is a serial killer. He likes to strangle ladies, and he's also into the voodoo. Why is that? Why does he have to be so demeaning?
I didn't know you were such a prude, Lacey.
It's just off. It's like, can we ease into it? Could you have had like
children?
Stupid. Like, could you have had like a better one-liner? Like, aren't you supposed to be a cool bad guy? Like, or I don't know. I just feel like there's usually better things to say.
Bad guy, be cooler.
Okay,
you're right.
Be less of a good actor as a child.
This movie's bad.
If the Chucky doll weren't so iconic looking and didn't look so fucked up, this movie would not have been anything.
I mean, it's stupid. Like Macy is obsessed with Chucky. She is aware of Chucky. He is a presence in her life. She has never seen these movies. She keeps asking, when can I see them?
Well, because her dad puts a Chucky doll under like an entry table, like under furniture. During Halloween, that's a decoration. He's not just out. The Chucky doll's under something, just the way Chucky would do. He would hide. It's fucking creepy.
All right, but if you go to like a Spencer's Gifts or whatever, there's Chucky memorabilia everywhere.
Yeah, it's iconic looking.
It's like the first R-rated horror thing that anyone becomes aware of, I think. And he's still around.
It's merchandisable.
He's still around. There was a Child's Play remake last year.
Really?
Where Mark Hamill played Chucky.
Wow.
And it didn't do very well. But it was, there's been seven movies in this series made, and then the remake. The past two were straight to streaming, but they're apparently pretty good.
All right.
Yeah. So we'll watch those tonight.
Yeah, I'll watch one of them, and if they're good, then I will explain to you how they. And I'm sorry I can't put it into words. I just know they did not set this up correctly for me to enjoy any of it. I need to be okay with fucking whatever.
I know.
I'm the princess and the pea.
You just want good
Goldilocks.
things.
I don't just want good things. I want things to make sense. I want you to set it up in a way that I'm like, yeah, now this is happening. I can be shocked. I can be like, oh, that was scary. If the whole time I'm thinking of how this does not seem like the fucking same movie, then I'm just out of it. I'm not even enjoying what you're trying to do.
I gotcha. I don't disagree. I just think that the stuff that works well enough for me that I give the movie a pass. But yeah, I wouldn't argue that this is like a great or important horror movie.
All right.
That was
easy.
People, by all means.
She's still holding the fucking batteries.
The batteries, Jack.
These aren't backup. I looked at the box. These are the only ones included.
Are you sure it's not
a different doll's batteries?
Powered? I don't know.
What about that plate on his head?
They're doing great things with toys these days.
Sure. What about a pull string?
Did you have like toys that you were into? Or like a toy that like this kid really fucking wants a good.
Yeah, I had a My Buddy doll, which you're supposed to get the kid's sister doll if you were a girl, but I wanted my buddy, and my mom would dress me like him, and he wore jean overalls and a striped shirt underneath. He looked identical to the Chucky doll, only he had brown hair. But I did too I looked like my buddy, and we were the same size. So that's why she thought it was precious. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if I like that doll, but I have pictures of me with it. I had a Teddy Ruxpin.
For like 2 years, I was obsessed with the Care Bears. And, this is why my Indian guide's name was Brave Rainbow, and I named my cat Sweetheart because all the Care Bears had heart as the suffix of their name. And what I really wanted was a Care Bear, doll, teddy bear for Christmas. But I got into Care Bears like after the craze was over, so they were no longer making them.
Once you were too old to be holding.
I was like 4.
Oh, that's fine.
When I was asking for this Care Bear.
All right.
And I'm like, Santa can make me a Care Bear. His elves can make me a Care Bear. It doesn't matter if they're out of print. The elves can make the Care Bears.
All right.
I woke up on Christmas morning. There was no Care Bear for me, and what my mom told me was that Santa's elves who make Care Bears had the flu. And I was like,
well, not so magical, that North Pole.
Bad.
They should wear a coat.
I believed it because I was a dumb kid who didn't have any ideas.
Idiot fuck.
And on that note, please visit our website, Load Bring Beams. It has a list of all the movies we've covered. Go look up a movie that you like. And if we've talked about it, listen to that episode. And then all the others. Tell your friends. Subscribe. Apple.
Get our numbers
Spotify,
up.
Google Play.
We want to make money off of this one day. What do you think we're fucking sitting here for?
The business.
The thrill?
The business model. The thrill of the thing.
Oh, look, she's about to get raped and no one's going to give her shit because she's had it coming.
The business model is to get people listening, and then you put out a Patreon and you're like, can't get enough of us? Get bonus episodes for $5 a month.
We don't have time to do that.
Well, by that time, we'll be making money doing it, so we'll be paid for the, you know what I'm saying.
All right, yeah, that's fine.
Otherwise, Facebook.
You better fucking go
Twitter,
away.
Instagram, and I Stand Alone. It's a different Godsmack song.
Oh.
As a little wiener Christian kid, I sure was okay listening to the artist Godsmack.
Oh, I thought Godsmack was like positive about God.
But with a song called Voodoo and another song called Bad Religion. Confusing stuff there. Wasn't the singer's name Sully?
Well, like I fucking know.
No.
I hope not.
Let me just listen.
Gonna Sully the name.
I know we're going out, but I don't want to leave the listeners.
He makes all of the peddlers scram with his gun. Says, "Get out of here now, you people suffering from
Sully
homeless."
Erna is the singer of Godsmack. You're welcome.
Here, okay.
Goodbye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
I'm doing the best I ever did. I'm doing the best that I